Today on the DL, missing but not forgotten. 2 cases, 3 women, all looking for answers. How has social media helped these mothers? How have they coped over the years with so many unanswered questions? What can we do to help? That and more will be covered today on the DL.
All right, well, welcome to the show. We have Denise, Glendine, and Anne joining us. And, well, Denise is all the way from England via Skype. Hello.
Hi.
You can hear us all right?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Oh, that's
Okay,
great.
good. So as you saw in the intro package, today's kind of a bit more of a serious topic. But one thing I noticed as soon as you ladies all got together, when they came into the studio, they're all like old best friends, right?
Basically, what happens is you become part of a family, and as we all say, not a family anyone would ever want to be in, and it's a family of those with a missing or a murdered loved one, and the love and support you get from them is what you get from someone who actually knows how it feels. We don't just say, oh, I can't imagine, or, I couldn't imagine, because we know. And that just brings us very close immediately. Everybody just becomes a friend and a family.
When I was talking with you earlier, I was saying, it's one thing for people like, Doug and I, who haven't been through a tragedy like any of the 3 of you guys have been through, to be like, oh, I can sympathize with you, and I can feel real emotions for what you're all going through, but empathy is to walk with somebody, and by having the support group, you have somebody that actually really fully knows what you're feeling.
It's important. It's very important. You feel very alone in this. Even when you're home alone, and your family's there, you still feel alone if you're the mother or if you're the main spokesperson for that person, because you always have so much going on in your head. And so it doesn't make you feel like you're alone when you have other people who know. People always say, I can't imagine, and I tell them, please don't even try. Yeah. For one, they will imagine 9.5 years of a terrible life, of a tragedy. Jesse going missing was one terrible day. It was a horrific thing that happened. But it hasn't been 9.5 horrible years.
Because you still have 3 other daughters.
I have 3 other daughters and 4 grandchildren, and I also keep Jesse's name out there. I am very active. I never stop day after day. And so it just, you have to. If you don't stay sane, you can't do this. And I'm doing it for Jesse, and I'm also doing it for me. I need my kid back.
Right.
So I'm doing it for me too.
Now, Denise.
Yes.
Sometimes in tragedy we can be very isolated and alone, and I know because Charles went missing here in Kelowna, it must be really hard for you to be so far away and trying to deal with this, but to have someone like Anne and people like Anne, how important has that been for you so far?
It's been a huge support.
And Anne, can you tell us a little bit about why you're involved in the search for Charles?
As a Canadian, and I have British family, I connected right away, and I wanted to help. And I'm a mother myself. I have a 25-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I just want to help, basically. I know how difficult, what can she do from England? You can type emails, you can make some phone calls, but it's, the time difference and everything else. It's problematic. I assisted Denise with her trip here in May for the vigil. We worked for months for that.
Which I actually said this morning to my friend that if it wasn't for Anne, I don't know if that would have even been possible for Denise to have come for that because of all Anne's hard work. She's very dedicated.
I moved here in the late 80s, so it's been a story that's been ongoing for quite a while. And I know being in the media and hearing your story and hearing about the search for Charles, it's been something that I think has touched everybody in Kelowna over the years. So it's weird that it's like a background to life here for everybody else, but everybody kind of knows about it.
Right.
So I think it's great that there's people here helping get that message out. But that's not just the only one that you're helping.
No,
you're an advocate.
I'm an advocate for.
So talk a bit about what you do.
I started off actually with SoCal Advocates for the Missing in Southern California, and we do everything from creating a missing flyer for somebody as soon as they go missing, We assist with law enforcement because there is no book that says when your kid runs away or your loved one goes missing, these are the steps you follow. As Glendine and Denise can tell you, what do you do?
Right.
You're at a loss. You know, you think automatically, oh, I just got to phone the police. They'll take care of it. Not necessarily. You have to do a lot of legwork yourself,
Follow
and you
leads.
have to be actively involved, for sure. Yeah.
And especially when our children go missing in another country.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Jessie may have went missing on our continent, but she's still in another country.
Right, so you actually have a little bit more similarities with Denise then,
Right.
right? Because you have to make those trips.
That's right.
And then it's expensive, and then when you have other family, like you have 3 other daughters that you have to think about too. So when you're putting all this time investing, it must be nice to have other people that can also advocate for
Oh,
you.
that's right. We had a team of people down in Las Vegas in January following a tip, and it was a very close tip. The person looked a lot like Jessie, and it actually took the police taking her in and getting her fingerprinted to prove that it wasn't. That's how close it was.
Wow.
But I wasn't there. It was done by, groups of people down there, and a pastor who runs the West Vegas church, which they're very active. They actually made a documentary that ran 30 minutes through the entire state of Nevada. Couldn't change a channel in the state of Nevada and find anything but this documentary, and it was on trafficking, on human trafficking. So that was a wonderful group of people that got together, connected with the police, so we didn't have any problems. And we need that. We can't do that without other people.
Right, and for you it's been 9.5 years, almost 10 years. And Denise, for you it's been 26 now. So 26 years. What's gotten you through that 26 years? And I know that, just seeing your updates on Facebook and stuff, it seems like you're as active as you were then, now, 26 years later. What keeps you getting up every day and still searching?
It's difficult. Justice for Charles. He needs to be found and brought home and laid to rest with a Christian burial.
What impact has this had on you and your family, having to make these long trips and trying to find answers for Charles?
It's been devastating, the emotional and financial toll. So far, the jet lag and an 8-hour time difference. It just destroys the family life.
How important is it for things like this to getting the word out there? I know that your main hope right now, and which is why Anne is here as well, is for the petition. Do you guys want to talk about that for a minute?
I've been asking that Charles's file be placed with the cold case team, and as yet I haven't succeeded in persuading the authorities to do this. So now we've got a petition going to plead with them to reconsider and place Charles's file with a cold case team to be resolved.
So people that are watching, how can they help with getting this cold case reopened? Where can they find the petition? Is that something that you're doing here?
It's online, and we do have people in Kelowna walking around, knocking on doors to ask for signatures. I believe we're 40 shy of 1,000 now.
Is that searchforcharles.com? Is that where you can find the petition?
Or the Facebook page.
The Facebook page.
Yes.
That's interesting because we're just talking about online things now. Your Facebook page and that kind of thing. Obviously, 10 years ago, 20 some years ago, there wasn't that kind of ability to communicate worldwide and instantly. We're getting used to now, like Amber Alert, something happens in Alberta and that word gets out right away.
Right.
Do you think that's something that will be making a big difference to help other people?
Without a doubt.
It has made a difference.
It already has made.
Mark Klass, whose daughter Polly Klass was kidnapped and murdered, he states to anybody who turns to him for help to go to social media, turn to social media, make a page, make a website, get it out there. And when Jessie went missing, I believe Facebook was there. I'd never heard of it, and somebody told me about MySpace, and I started with MySpace. And then when I started hearing about Facebook, I moved it over to Facebook. So as long as Facebook's been active in Canada, Jessie's page has been active on, it's been active on until a couple months ago when Facebook took it down.
Right.
Well, and it must be good also for people that are far away, like you, Denise, way over in England, and you with your, Jesse was missing in Vegas, to have that kind of connection with social media, because otherwise, I mean,
It's immediate.
yeah,
It doesn't matter what time it is, you send a message, and if you see it when it comes in, you have an immediate response.
right.
Yeah.
Well, we have so much negativity with social media because there's so much bullying and shaming and online things that are really bad with social media, but there's also so much good that can come out of it, and that's in sharing information and spreading awareness about things.
Absolutely.
With that, have you guys had any experiences with people being negative about the cases and stuff? Because I know that parents
It
are also
happens.
exposed to a lot of stuff
Yeah,
that they...
and a lot have. I don't know if it's because I'm so vocal and so out there, and because I speak and I've helped change laws, that people just don't do it much to me.
No.
Or if they do, I just turn on them, like a mother would defending their own child. And I do a lot of laughing out loud on Facebook, because when people do things, I find it actually comical that they think that their piddly little words are going to hurt me. The only thing that'll really hurt me is if something worse than a missing child happens to me. Right now, I don't get hurt very much at all. I have so much strength in me that it's really hard for someone to really make me.
Well, I know with you, Denise, I've seen a few things online where people, because it has been 26 years, where people who maybe aren't mothers themselves, or, there's people that are just looking from the outside saying, well, it's been 26 years, like you need to just move on with your life. Now, what would you say to those people, like as a mother?
Well, I didn't lose the car. I can't get a new one. I lost my only child. And until the day I die, I'll search for him.
And that's the thing, what people don't understand is, if your child didn't go missing and then they stayed with you and they grew up and then got married and had children, they'd be involved in your life on a daily basis. Why should our children who are either deceased or missing not be in our lives on a daily basis? I find it offensive that somebody thinks we should get over having a missing child. Try it. No, actually, please don't.
No.
Please, never.
Well, and that reminds me of something that we just talked about before the camera started rolling, was that the use of the word closure, and it's something we all do.
Like I say, closure is like closuring the door, if that's such a word. Let's say you rewind my life to the day Jessie went missing. Instead of going to Vegas, she came home. There's my closure. My closure is that this never happened. You don't get closure over something painful. You get answers, you get skills to cope with it, and you learn how to live with it. But you don't close it off. There's not a door that closes that, okay, this is done now. My child's been found and buried. Now, no. Denise and I, we won't have closure no matter what happens with our children, but we really do want answers. Denise knows in her heart her child was murdered. Denise wants to take her son back to where he was from, where his roots are, and be buried. I believe my daughter is alive and needs to be found and rescued. There's nothing that makes me wonder how somebody can assume we could just get over that or get closure from that or move on.
Right.
No.
Denise, for you, you just had your last trip here to Kelowna. Is that going to be your last trip?
Very likely. I'm 66 years old now, and the body's quite weary. Travelling such a long way, financially ruined. Obviously, searching for so many years.
And what do you think is stopping you from getting answers?
It's a conspiracy of silence in Kelowna, and those who know the fate of young Charles have yet to break that silence. I implore them to find the courage to go forward anonymously, make the call, and tell Crime Stoppers, Call Me in England, find a way, and honestly to let us know where Charles's remains can be found, so that he may be able to come home.
And why do you think that people have answers that they aren't sharing with you?
I know.
Someone always knows.
Yeah.
People don't just fall into a black hole and disappear with nobody knowing what happened. Someone knows. And I would like to say something too about what Denise said about how, her body, we're getting older, and these are, we're not young like we used to, and the financial drain. Most of us with missing children, once we hit retirement age, we don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Our savings, our future, it's gone, because we won't stop looking for our children. And we don't want to have a savings account if we can use that money to try and find our children. my husband is very concerned about that. I just like, whatever. We have kids. They're going to have to step up because, you know, we just aren't going to sacrifice to have a savings account if we can do something to help find our child.
And Denise?
Everything's gone. Our home, marriage, life as we once knew it. There's nothing except the search.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate that my husband and I, we've been together for almost 30 years. We got engaged in 1997, and we just got married 2 years ago. And I'm very fortunate that I still have the love of my life, Jesse's stepfather, since she was a young toddler, with me, because I don't have Jesse's childhood home. I don't have anything. I don't have my career anymore. I am cashier now at a store,
Right.
which I love it. I love it a lot, and anyone who knows me knows I do. But it's not a financially stable job, you know. And so yeah, there's a lot more than just the broken heart and the not knowing where your child is. There's everything else that happens in your life, from paying your rent to eating to having a car and a job. Those things are normal things, but those kind of sit on the back burner. When Jesse went missing, I took a leave of absence. I was off for 3 years, and then I just left the job completely, and it was 5 years without a second income in a 2-income family. And then my husband changed jobs so that he could be home with me. So his income was almost cut in half from what he was doing when he was installing alarms to back in the nothing is the same.
Right.
Nothing is the same. And I'm not complaining about that. And I'm not, no one will ever hear me complain that I don't have any money or that I'm worried about that, because my focus is finding Jesse. My focus is the reason why we're in this position. It's not, to me, important to sit back and think, well, you know what, in 8 years I'm going to retire and I'm going to travel around the world in a motorhome. Those are not my plans at all. My plans are find Jesse, and then if Jesse comes home alive, it's going to be an awful lot of work on the young lady so she can be back in society, be productive, do what she needs to do for her to live her life. And that's just the way it is. And, I stopped complaining a long time ago. I don't wish this didn't happen anymore. It's pointless to wish. So instead, I educate students in high schools and universities. I travel all over Canada. I've helped change a law. Our new anti-prostitution law is actually dubbed Jesse's Law. I testified twice for that law to pass, and it did. And now it's Jesse's Law. And for the first time in Canadian history, prostitution is illegal, which I find ironic that no one knew that before, that it was legal. But all these things have made such a difference that I am so proud of Jesse. I sat back one day and I thought about Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. And I thought, wow, that was a tragedy, and look at the change. Now, Jesse could come back, and the tragedy would have a good ending. We don't know. But in the meantime, I formed MATH, Mothers Against Trafficking Humans, so that I could explain to people. Jesse, nobody knew about human trafficking when Jesse went missing. When I first I would tell people, and they'd do the old pat on the back. Oh, let her think what she needs to survive. Her kid's missing. But no one believed it was real.
But now,
Now I'm invited to Moncton, New Brunswick to speak with Victor Malarick about human trafficking. I think there's been a shift.
Oh, they're definitely, it's pretty clear.
It is very, yes. And my husband always tells me it's all because of me. I take less credit than that because I know all the people. I've worked with many people. MP Joyce Smith, the women who founded Sex Trade 101, all these hard-working people who we've done this together. And it took me a long time to take credit for anything I've done. I always said, well, wouldn't you do it? What else should I do?
It's natural for you to do
never
it.
took the credit for the changes. And I am very proud of myself. And I'm very proud of Jessie and her sisters, how phenomenal they are with a missing sister. They've all become wonderful young women. 2 of them have become mothers. My grandchildren have saved my life. You know, I probably wouldn't be as good of a grandma if I didn't have a missing daughter, because I wouldn't want to focus so much on them, because I would still be a normal person with a normal life. So, yeah.
So some good has been able to come out of it. Denise, for you, over these last 26 years, what good has come out of all of this tragedy for you?
Pass.
Yes. And for you, I know that you had, the reason that you're involved in all of this stuff.
Yep.
Is that something that you would want to share just about why you're in it?
Sure. When I was 18 years old, I thought I knew better than my parents, and nothing was going to happen to me. I was invincible. I went to a bar downtown in Vancouver. It got spiked, and I got drugged, and I got taken up to Squamish, and I was raped, and the guy intended to kill me at the end of the weekend, because that's what he kept telling me. And I managed to break away when he eventually slept. And so any of these missing people could have been me. You know, my parents, luckily, I was only missing, for 12 hours. But
Right.
12 hours is 12 hours too long for a parent, any parent. And I just want to make a difference. I just want to help.
And that's great to be able to take something so hard, and because sometimes you think that it might trigger something in yourself by being involved in all of these kind of cases to reopen old wounds for you, but the fact that you're able to still do that and make a positive difference.
We've actually brought home, there was a young woman in Southern California. She'd been sex trafficked in Tijuana for 15 months, and we got her back. 8 months pregnant, but we got her back
And
in
just
April.
that must have been an amazing.
That's why I do this. That's why I'm checking my phone first thing in the morning for updates, for emails, Facebook. I'm very passionate about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do it, probably.
That's right.
And so, for all three of you ladies, for people that are watching, because you don't think of all the things, the impacts, the financial impacts, the relational impacts, all the things that come with something like this, like a missing person or any kind of tragedy in a family. What can people do to help each of your individual cases?
Well, share. Go online and share everything, and like be gentle with the people. Don't think that you can say anything you want, and like we were saying earlier about bullying. You can't do those things to us because we're already broken.
Yeah.
We're broken people who get up every day. We don't go to bed at night without thinking about our loved ones that are missing or murdered. We don't wake up in the morning without thinking about them, and we don't spend any hour of the day without thinking about them. So you need to remember that though we're laughing and we're enjoying, we're still broken. I'm a lot stronger than a lot of people, and I know it's because of my mother. I know how strong she was, and I know that she passed it to me because I have seen other women falter. I have seen women die, brokenhearted, commit suicide because they just could not live with a child missing.
Well, and you must have empathy for Denise being so far away.
Oh, yes.
So we're all in the Okanagan. I know you're not from here, you're the Lower Mainland.
yeah.
But what can we Okanagan people do to be advocates here in the Okanagan to get the answers that Denise needs?
So the petition you can find on searchforcharles.com.
As well as the Facebook
The Facebook page. What's
page,
the
yep.
Facebook page? Is it under
It's under Charles, Search for Charles.
Search for Charles?
Yeah.
And you're involved in an organization.
Yes.
So how do people find out about the trafficking, human trafficking?
You just go to mothersagainsttraffickinghumans.com. We've got a website. Just Google Jessie Foster. Her name will pop up. The Dr. Phil Show wants some more information about Jessie. Next week, I go down to Ontario, and there's a campaign, and Jessie's going to be featured as a missing person in this campaign with billboards and pictures on buses and things. So, all we need to do is keep sharing these. Every time an article comes up, we need to share it. Every time if there's a vigil, like we had a candlelight vigil for Charles here, and nobody showed up.
Why do you think that is?
It was a long weekend. It was hot. Maybe people think this is like a downer kind of thing. It's a negative kind of thing, but really it isn't. And if I could
We went
just
to so much work for that.
So Denise,
a
I want to
lot,
give you the
yeah.
floor for a minute. I know it's difficult because you're so far away on Skype.
Yeah.
I want to give this time to you just to kind of explain what we can all do here to to help you?
Join the search for Charles. You can find information online, searchforcharles.com, or key in. There are many avenues to connect to keep up the awareness for him.
And what message would you have for the person that you believe has information about him?
Find the courage, find some empathy, come forward, and allow me to bring my boy home. Please.
Is there anything that we haven't spoken about that you guys would like to mention?
I just want to say that there's actually quite a few missing people in Kelowna and Okanagan and Kamloops. Very often, if you're on Facebook, you'll see, because there are different groups, different pages where they share missing flyers. And the one thing that if your viewers could walk away from this knowing, if you think that you've seen somebody that's missing, don't just walk by. Don't just ignore it. You know, like maybe casually, inconspicuously take a picture of that person, because it could make a difference. It could be that person. That person
And of course,
sitting
don't
outside.
put yourself at any risk
Never.
or anything.
No, absolutely not. I'm not ever
no.
saying, I'm
Yes.
not ever advocating going up to the person.
Like
I'm just-
vigilante justice.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No,
You
no,
cannot
no.
rescue a
Safety
victim.
first.
You cannot go
No.
in and rescue somebody that you think might be a victim of human trafficking or a missing
No.
person on any level
Yeah.
without putting your own self
Yeah.
in harm's way. So you need to, get as much information as you can. And everybody has phones, and everyone's
Yeah.
taking pictures
Yeah.
of everybody and everything now. So
It's hard to have
just-
secrets
it's-
anymore.
It
It
is.
is.
So if you see somebody and you think, oh, that looks familiar, maybe
you could be wrong, but still
you
do
could
it.
be wrong. More than likely you will be, but it could be that one person. And then if you go home and you look at the Facebook page or you look at your Facebook, and you see that person, you can then reach out to the family or to law enforcement and say, at such and such time, at the corner of Bernard and whatever, I saw somebody that resembles or
Right.
that I think
Right.
might be. Like,
Don't doubt your
obviously,
intuition, right?
Yeah, no.
One thing I also noticed with you, Denise, is 26 years, and just by being Facebook friends with you now and seeing your posts, and same with you, Glendine, it's interesting with missing children how most of your posts are now about other missing children. So you guys all become kind of advocates
Yep.
for the cause.
Yep.
Whereas, with me, when I thought about it, it's like you'd think that the natural thing would be to kind of just stay away from it because you don't want to get triggered, but it's actually the opposite that happens, that you guys all become a support for one another and advocate
Well,
for
we're
one
asking
another.
you to share our child's picture. Why would we not share theirs, right?
Yes.
Right.
So it's, you have to. Everybody shares. Everybody shares with everybody.
We're all on the same team.
You asked earlier about a plus point of what's come out of all this. I've always said, as long as I can stand, walk, and talk, I'll search for my son until the day I die. Never really believing that might actually happen. I thought I would find him before now. But this year I decided, last year should I say, I decided to sing for him. And I become a member of the Missing People Choir in London. And we performed at the Christmas Carol service for the missing, a song called I Miss You. It's helped me to do something a little lighter.
Okay, and Glendine, you also have a song for Jesse?
Yes, Nigel Graham. He wrote Jesse's song several years ago. He'd already written one song for a missing girl, and then he found Jesse's story and asked if he could write a song for Jesse, and he did. And since then, he's written probably hundreds of songs for missing families.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for coming in. I know it's got to be tough, and for talking to us over the internet.
At a late time, ungodly hour.
For sharing your stories with us, and hopefully that will encourage people to, check out those links. We'll have them all up on our website, on our Facebook page, be able to track all of that down.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being here.